Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome today evening in yet another webinar live on YouTube channel of Chamber for Service Industry, that is GS Motivator. And today we have with us very regards to the person who has come today, a special personality. Uh, so much regards our entire team has for the person because he has guided us. He has always been there with Chamber for Service Industry, and even during the pandemic when we have started this webinar series, sir has been with us from the very beginning. So to introduce this personality, I would like to say Colonel K.C. Menon, sir. He has served Indian Army for almost 22 years. Apart from the period that he has spent with Indian Army during his training period, apart from that 22 years, then he has joined ITC group of hotels, and he was there for 16 years as head HR for South India. And as I was telling you, during the thick pandemic times when we have thought of starting some kind of a technologically sound empowerment sessions on YouTube and with the help of Zoom, he is there with us as a support system, as a backbone for Chamber for Service Industry, as an advisor for education training purpose and the webinars. And from the last 1 year, he has been associated with St. Joseph University, Bengaluru, as Chief HR Officer. I'm short of a word to express my delight while welcoming Sir, because he is such a personality who has dedicated his whole life for our country, for our countrymen in true sense. While in the army, he was dedicatedly serving Indian forces and our country that way. And now, when he is associated with the hospitality industry, the most dignified and most dedicated service industry, when we talk about the segments of service industry, there he's choosing, he's training, he's shaping the right kind of an HR for the industry. So, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together to welcome Colonel K.C. Menon. He's going to speak today on the topic HR challenges in hospitality industry. So I am just stopping share my slide, and from there we welcome Colonel K.C. Menon, sir. Sir, welcome. Good evening. Namaste.
Thank you very much. This was a very, very encouraging, detailed, motivating introduction by Dr. Chitra. Thank you. A big thank you to Dr. Sharma, sir. It has been a real pleasure to be associated with the earlier ICSI, now Chamber for Service Industry, through the pandemic. And undoubtedly, the Chamber has done human service to humanity by looking after people for their physical fitness, mental fitness, medical fitness, and keeping everyone engaged during that difficult period. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And I love the hospitality business, which was my second career in one of the best hospitality companies of the country.
See.
And when we speak about challenges, I think before I get on to the HR, I think it is very important for me to spend a minute or two to tell what are the challenges for the industry on the whole. Now, if I take these challenges, the first most important challenge is for hospitality, is the huge investment cost. The cost of constructing an organization, constructing a hotel is immense and huge, requires lots of money. I'll just quote an example to make you understand. The last hotel which I was posted in, prior to my retirement in 2016 was a new start. In fact, I was very fortunate. I only worked with startups in hospitality. It was the icon of Chennai, ITC Grand Chola. ITC Grand Chola. The cost of construction of this property was 1,200 crores, wherein that land already belonged to ITC. Now, in case a business, if an entrepreneur wants to borrow money and start a hotel, he should take 1,200 crores loan. Only servicing that loan, you have to pay at least 12 crores per month. And the cost of running a hotel is immense. Now, first of all, you service your loan. How do you run the hotel? How do you pay for your employees and all that? Therefore, what is the first major problem or first major challenge is the huge investment one has to make. And the return from that investment is also not adequate for people who put in that money. The first was what I said, the cost of infrastructure, then huge running costs. Today I was reading that in the internet that Tamil Nadu was West Bengal was thinking of giving industry status to hotels, hospitality. And there were people who were very happy because then in that case, the electricity costs almost halves. Electricity costs for industrial establishments or for hotels are very, very high. And one of the important or most important costs other than the employee cost is energy cost. There are other things also, like for example, hospitality gets first affected in case there's a problem, whether it is a flood, whether it's a tsunami, whether there is a war, whether some terrorism activity happens. Like for example, what happened in Sri Lanka a few years back, the bombings of the churches brought the complete industry on its knees. And now, for example, what is happening in Gaza, in that area, and that complete area, all the hospitality business has come to a stop, not only in that area of Gaza, but all the surrounding countries. Practically, there is no tourism. So the thing is that it is important, I thought, to start with this. And another thing is, I must speak adherence to the statutory laws, because there are so many laws, excise and so on. So running hospitality has got its own challenges, but I will not go into the other challenges. I'd like to concentrate as an HR person on HR challenges. So when you come on HR challenges, first thing is what I would like to speak about is talent. How do you get the people? Now, to get the people, what I mean, I will shortly put on a presentation, but mostly all my things will be verbatim. I'd like to speak more on my experiences than go on this. Now, firstly, how do you recruit the right people? When you say the right people, it's I would say it's a very strange thing. In this country, there is no dearth of catering colleges. But to get the right material is very difficult. So if I were to recruit for ITC, I look for certain standards. And for getting those standards, to get the right people becomes very difficult. When you speak about the people, a 5-star deluxe hotel like Grand Chola or most of our hotels, the standard they are, you require a good knowledge of the English language. You have to communicate to your international guests. Therefore, having people with the right language skills become important. So first thing was what is a recruitment of the right people. You have to go to the catering colleges all over the country and try to get the right people. Now, once you recruit the right people, how do you retain these people? Because retention is one of the biggest challenges. I'll start sharing my screen also. Just give me a minute. How? As I said,
Ji.
recruit recruit the right person is most important. Now,
Right.
when you said about recruitment, as I said, go to various places, get the right people to join, language skills, overall personality. How would they be able to communicate with the guests and all become very important. Now, when you recruit, and like for example, when you recruit, another thing is that when you go to different colleges, one thing what we always look for, see the students go for industrial training to various uh, hotel companies and do their industrial training, whether they have done their industrial training in the right way, whether they have learned the subject well. And one of the most important qualities, I'll come back to qualities a little later, is whether they have the right attitude for the job. Very, very important. A little later, we'll speak about what are the qualities, because I'm sure there are some students amongst here who like to know what are the qualities that a recruiter normally looks for, and what are the desirable and essential qualities for becoming a recruiter. Uh, but let me go on to this aspect of investigating. We'll go to this thing. Now, after you have recruited correctly, uh, the thing what we do most importantly is how to concentrate on to train so that these resources whom we have recruited are able to give that service which of that quality service which our guests expect. See, the guest today is very discernible. He's an international traveler, or he's a business head, they're top industry people, or they're normal tourists. But whatever they are, they expect the best of services when they come to a hotel. Uh, Therefore, training becomes very important. When you come about training, the first thing what happens is when you join hotels, you have an induction, a culturalization, where you get the people uh, familiarized with what are the expectations, what are the rules, what are the regulations, etc., so that they know and they are trained for the right competency. Some more important qualities which we deal with them and we see that they are trained for. One is grooming, standard of grooming, standard of your appearance. Train people to see that they are punctual. They understand the value of time. They are not late. They are always in time where it is required. They also need to develop an attitude to learn and be coached. So these are some of the qualities we teach them during their uh, induction training and induct them to the departments. Once they join the departments, now the thing is that once people join in, there is continuous hand holding. They are put through with their buddies. There is mentoring. People see that they are adjusted and acclimatized to the environment. There are some more aspects of this on training which we'll see. We'll go on as we go on further to the visit. But Dr. Chitra, I must tell you over here, if you feel
Yes,
there is some questions which you need to ask me as I go along, you're welcome to ask it. I have no problem, because
sure.
you may be knowing the pulse of the students, what they need to
Ji.
know. So
Ji.
it will become more useful for people also. Okay.
Right, sir.
Yeah.
So should I ask with the slides itself, or should I ask in the end?
No, you ask, because many of the things what will happen is it will be covered, you know. So when I'm talking, I will start automatically including those things which you ask.
Ji, sir, sure, sure. So, sir, very first question, as you were talking about talent acquisition and retention, so
Hmm.
what are the specific talent acquisition and retention challenges in
Hmm.
hospitality, and how can they be addressed?
See, as far as what I mean to say, the talent acquisition was one is what I said. There's a huge shortage of talent, so there is a need to travel all over the country to quality catering colleges and see that you recruit the best and the right material. And then what I mean to say, when you are recruiting the right material, you have to see, you have to check whether they have learned, they have undergone the correct training, they have undergone industrial training at appropriate hotels where they've actually learned what they are supposed to. one aspect which I always tell over here is many a times we are not very, very particular about, in case of knowledge is, uh, say, it is 90% or 80% and not 100%. Because we believe that we can train the person, provided the person has got the right attitude and the willingness to learn. That is regarding talent acquisition. Now, talent acquisition, the more important is, see, you must get talent, but retaining the talent is very important. Now, when you have to retain the talent, you have to see, firstly, that they feel they are part of the organization. Then you have to see how uh, they feel, how will they become part of the organization? Firstly, that they are trained correctly. Secondly, what I mean to say, uh, whether they have got the right mentors, people are helping their development. People are seeing that there is, what I mean to say, there's reward and recognition. Suppose, there are a lot of programs we have where we try to keep people engaged. We see that when they interact with the guest comments come. When you get a good guest comment, we see that there is a reward which is following. So there is a reward and recognition. Anyone who does something good is recognized by the unit head, publicly praised in a platform. In a town hall, they call forward, they are given gifts, they are celebrated. And not only that, there's another very good program which you have in hotels. Your own peer group will recognize you. You complement each other and see that you become part of a family. See what happens in hotels. We always think the hotel is a second home. In fact, it is. I would say it is more like a first home. I will say as an HR person, because most of your working hours, the hours which you are awake, you are spending in a hotel. Because when you go home, you most of the time is going in sleeping and doing routine activities, and some time is spent in traveling. Therefore, most of your waking day you are spending in the hotel, so it's very important to feel that you are engaged and happy. So these are the very different ways how you're keeping a person uh, engaged and retain a person in your organization.
Yeah. So also while we are talking about training also, so when we talk about hospitality industry, it is completely guest oriented, what we say customer oriented industry. So how can HR ensure that employees are well trained and motivated to provide exceptional services, especially from the point of view of HR?
The thing is that now, when we are speaking about training, first of all, if you can make a person, it's most important to you to make a person feel at home. People should be happy. Unless the employee is happy to come to work, you cannot have that. You must have an environment when the person has sense of belonging. People belonging to the same family, they feel nice to come to work. You have to see that sense of engagement comes in. Now, there are various ways, what I mean to say. Firstly, when you take a young student, a person joins your organization, what are you doing for his growth? What are you doing for his development? Now, the slide shows emotional intelligence and self-awareness. Are you making that person aware about what, bringing out self-awareness? What is he good at? What does he know to develop? What does he need to do for his own development? So to do that, if you put a person and put him through training, put him through tests and tell him this is what the areas which you need to improve. And you give them training inputs so that the person becomes a better person. I remember I used to normally tell a person that I recruit that after 1 year, you'll become a confirmed employee. When you are coming up for your confirmation, I want to see lot of changes in you, a lot of changes in you, not in terms of putting on weight by eating good food, but also your personality should develop. You should become a changed person and you should become a better person. Another very important when we are dealing with emotional intelligence and self-awareness, we speak about it. How you give that good guest service. We make sure that the people understand the true meaning of empathy. Now, empathy is a very simple thing as per the dictionary. But to understand empathy in the true sense, to understand what the guest is undergoing, you require to train them and make them feel as if they are the person who's undergoing. Unless you can feel for that person who's undergoing that, you cannot have true empathy. So what we do is involve the people in such a way, make them part of the family, make them understand where they require to improve, help them in their growth, make them better people in the sense that understanding, like first of all, the very good aspect of learning empathy in the right spirit is you understand what are the requirements and the pains of your immediate people. Like, for example, an employee becomes a better person at home because when he understands guest needs, when he goes home, he understands what his spouse requires. He understands what his children requires. So all those things, he becomes a better human being. That sort of thing.
Right.
He has he learns to understand the guest requirements, and in the process becomes a better human being.
Ji.
I think I've told certain things. I think I've shared with
Yes,
you.
sir. Yes, sir.
Uh,
More questions will
yeah,
take
yeah,
subsequently.
yeah.
Ji.
And one thing more, when you're talking about training, as I
Ji.
said, you recognize when he does something good. See,
Ji.
first of all, when you train a person well, you see that he becomes better, and you you give him a feedback. You tell him this is a place where you could have done better. This is a place where you did very well. You're getting recognized. Here is an area where you need to improve. So what happens? The person keeps getting feedback and he keeps improving. When he keeps improving, he automatically starts growing. He becomes ready for his next job. When I say the next job, I mean higher. Like if he's joined at an entry level, he's training to become an assistant supervisor. He's training to become a supervisor. He's training to become an executive. He's training to become a manager. So all these feedbacks help him to grow in his career.
Ji.
Another thing is what I said, we are already talking about building engagement. Another very important thing which we do in hotels, we empower our people. We tell that you are a person, you can take decision till this much. This is this level, you can have that decision to do take have the authority to take decisions, and the organization stands by you. So when you empower a person, he feels important, he feels part of the organization, he feels as part of the family. All these things happen, and it leads to better guest service. Uh, I often remember in hotels and particularly ITC, we tell our people, especially people who join me, if in case a guest makes a requirement, please always try to make your answer yes. You will never give a no. In case that it has to be a no, please make sure that it is done by your superior. You should not have a no in your vocabulary. You should always have a yes. No, because we follow the culture that guest is always right, and we respect the guest for that. All this automatically leads to very positive guest interaction, guest feedback, and guest satisfactions are of a very high standard.
Right.
There are things like, for example, uh, I almost partially covered how, with all this, a person feels motivated. He feels challenged in the sense that he feels his work is a challenge and he has to improve. His efforts are recognized. He is compensated. We try to see that he has got a work-life balance in the sense, see, when you join an industry new, working hours are long. We try to see that it is reasonable. We try to give them responsibility so that when you give them responsibility, they automatically, are trained for the next role.
Right.
Yeah.
So here I would like to ask one thing. So work and life balance when we are talking about. So usually in a hotel, for a newcomer also and otherwise also, what are the set working hours or
See,
what are the shift timings?
normally the working hours are supposed to be 9 hours, including breaks.
Okay. Okay.
But there are times when a person has to stay back, depending on the type of function. Like,
Ji.
like what happens sometimes, there are major events which happen. For example, there's a major wedding, or
Okay.
there's a, like, for example, we used to have ITC Grand Chola, which we have also visited and stayed, Dr. Chitra, that place. You know, it
Ji.
has got huge banqueting, and
Thank you.
it's an icon. There are sometimes very, very important functions. So what happens uh, in hotels traditionally? What happens? Suppose you are, for example, even leaving a banquet function alone, you are serving a guest. Now it is like this: if someone is coming to your home, you
Ji.
are serving the person. You have to complete that serving. You can't tell that guest to say, "Now you go."
Ji.
You understand? So, person
Ji.
who's in hospitality similarly cannot every time, sometimes, like what happens, many guests like particular person to serve them.
Ji.
If that guest comes, perforce a person requires to stay because there is some sort of connect with that person.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
that guest expects that person to stay. Now, when we speak about major functions, now when these major functions are there in the hotel, at times what happens is so the hours stretch more than the working hours.
Okay.
For this, what they do, they try to compensate by giving a compensatory off. Say, normally it is not possible. If it is up to an hour extra, it is accepted that during your work, sometimes you have to work additionally. But when it is
Ji.
stretches more, the HR try to take count of the number of extra hours they have done and try to at the earliest possible, try to have a compensatory off for that. Suppose a person has worked for 2 hours additionally. Then what happens when that 2 hours make it and becomes 9 hours? What I mean to say, then he becomes eligible for a compensatory off on some day, which he combines with his leave. We try to see that it is done as far as possible. But at
Right.
times it is not possible also. We try
Ji.
to see that sort of thing. And actually, when you join, when you are new, at that time, it's always also a time for investment. You only have a return on investment if you are willing to spend that time in an office.
Ji. 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 Can be compensated with monetary rewards also?
Monetary is normally not done in most organizations.
Ji.
We try
Ji.
to give them a compensatory off.
Okay. Okay. Right, sir.
Compensatory off. In fact,
Understood.
I would say most people would prefer compensatory off because they are young. They like to have more holidays and vacation when they go for vacation.
Ji. 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 Ji.
A lot of our workforce comes from the Northeast. And when they go on leave, they like to go on more holidays. That's all.
Ji. Ji.
Instead of,
Ji.
instead of taking leave without pay, this sort of incentive where they can take more days of leave becomes better in a way.
Ji. 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 Ji.
Although some people do prefer to get financial incentives.
Okay. Right, sir. Right.
See, as per the law of the land, what I mean to say, there are a lot of laws, statutory laws, which are there on the subject of making people work and overtime. But in the hospitality industry, we try to see that we remain within the ambits of the law. And if perforce, if we have to actually do more, we try to give them a compensatory off.
Ji. Ji.
With,
Ji.
of course, with the employee's consent. Okay?
Right, sir. Understood.
Yeah.
Understood, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. People work for satisfaction. They work for challenge and recognition.
Ji.
Yes, what I mean to say, money is important, but when you make people feel recognized, it's recognition. I always say it's like wings. It
Ji.
is like giving wings to a person so that they fly. That sort of. You have next question. Uh, you can go ahead in case anything. Otherwise, I'll go to the next thing. What's the other question you have?
Yes, sir. So, but I will take subsequently with your further slides.
Okay, okay.
Ji. Ji, sir.
Now, another thing is recruitment. When we do our recruitment, we try
जी
to do a recruitment pan-India
जी
so
सर
that,
जी
we have representation of from various regions of the country. And
जी
hotels are one thing, they are truly in the sense that, you have people from all caste, creed, religion, and they all form like a part of a big family, just like the armed forces. That is why I feel that after working in the armed forces, I like hotels, yeah, because the similar sort of things are there. The discipline is similar. People work with a lot of discipline. They have
जी
importance for grooming. They dress properly. They
हम्म
treat people with respect. They
हम्म
wish each other. So it's a very positive culture which is there. And
ओके
I always pay a lot of importance to culture because I always feel culture is very important. In fact, what I mean to say, culture is such a point which you can speak and continue to speak, but we require another webinar for
जी
dealing with culture. So the thing is that we recruit and get people from various parts of the country. People live together as part of one family. Another
जी
thing is what?
सर
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really sorry interrupting you. Here, I would like to ask one question.
Hmm.
And this is something very, very important, specifically when we talk about any industry who welcomes diversity and inclusions. Because you
Yeah.
talk that hospitality industry do recruit as per the brand and the bigness of any hospitality unit is concerned. It may recruit people from all over the country. So when we talk about diversity and inclusions, and when the people those are coming, the candidates, the new joinees, those are coming from various cultural background and diversity. So how can HR department in hospitality work to create a more inclusive and diverse workforce? एंड इसके साथ साथ एक चीज और भी है सर, कि जब कोई भी बच्चा जो कि एक नया ज्वाइनी है, जिसके लिए शायद ये पहली जॉब हो और वो अपना घर छोड़ के आ रहा है, सो हॉस्पिटैलिटी यूनिट को ऐसा क्या करना चाहिए और एचआर प्रोफेशनल्स ऐसा क्या करते हैं कि उनको आउट ऑफ द होम फील ना हो? सो हाउ विल यू वांट टू आंसर दिस विद योर
This,
एक्सपीरियंस?
this is a very good question. I love to answer it because my last place, ITC Grand Chola, when we
जी
started,
जी
the number of people who were working were more than 1,000.
ओ
I should tell people that, where we had that area, that cafeteria was in the basement, this thing, a very tastefully done area, a very
जी
good employee restaurant we have there. If
ओके
anyone goes to Grand Chola, our employee restaurant is of very, very uh, high standard, I would say. And what we did, you know, in hotels, it is sometimes very funny that different people have different food choices.
जी
And
जी
another thing is a lot of see the people who are serving the guests feed the best of food to the guests. So
जी
naturally, it is human. You expect good food.
फॉर
Um,
योरसेल्फ.
you the expectation of food is from any hotel employee is always their expectations is high. It is
जी
HR. Any good HR will make sure that after all these are basic human needs. That if they
जी
have to see that they have to have good food, you must ensure that their food is good. Now, what we did in Grand Chola, another thing, sometime when we started in Bangalore ITC Gardenia, for example, initially we said it's a green hotel. Let
जी
it be only vegetarian. We
ओके
tried it after 2 months, but after 2 months we changed. And the reason I know, Dr. Chitra, you're a vegetarian, but still I
जी
will tell I'm aware, but I have to tell you, see what happens. You cannot say you have a green hotel for employees and the guest can come and eat whatever he wants.
जी
You understand?
जी
If it is green, it should be green throughout. Now you can't run a hotel and say that we are totally veg, an ITC hotel, because your large number of your clientele are the foreign travelers, the international traveler, and international travel don't know what is vegetarian.
जी
Most most of them. So when we
जी
did Grand Chola, we found that since we had a lot of people from the Northeast, the taste of the Northeast is something totally different. We had people from the South, we had people from North India, and
हम्म
then we had people from Northeast. So what
Okay.
happens is when a person from North India, when he sees sambar every day,
Anji.
he gets very agitated. So
Right.
understand. So
See,
the
I
thing
can.
is that you had three different counters. One, a North Indian counter where you have Rajma Chawal plus other things. And then you
Ji.
have Sambar and Rasam in the South Indian counter. And then we had a Northeast counter where
Okay.
food which the Northeast people like. You
Wow,
understand?
especially
So
from
the,
that genre.
yes. So the thing
Oh,
is that, we made sure that the people are happy in their workspaces, that their type of food is eaten, and they don't feel that they miss their home food, because food is a very important consideration.
ji.
So when we talk about diversity, one
Mhm.
is you're recruiting people from different people, but you must make people feel at home. You must understand what their requirements are.
Ji,
Make
ji.
If you want people to feel at home, you must make sure that they get what they feel, what they get at home as far as possible, to the best extent possible. And we did it very successfully. And most, I would say, in ITC, I can speak about ITC. It's not, I will speak about ITC since I spent 15 years long, 15 years, I would say
Ji,
long years, but which went very quickly, I would say.
ji, 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 ji.
And one thing more, when you're diversity, when you're, it's very important. In addition to the recruitment, there should be fairness and transparency in every aspect. People should feel that they are comfortable. People should feel that everything is being done rightly. There's no partiality. Everything is right. Another thing about diversity, incidentally, my next thing is towards diversity only.
Mhm.
Employing differently able people.
Oh, yes, sir.
This is something which we have done very, very successfully. Um, I remember when I joined ITC, when I started my initial years, when I was at ITC Grand
Mhm.
Central Mumbai, we are almost 20 people with disabilities who work. And when we
Okay.
employ people with disabilities, firstly, uh, employing people with disabilities is very different from what the government does reservation. When
Mhm.
government does reservations and take people, uh, you call it something in a very obnoxious, I would say. You call them physically handicapped, which is not a very right term. They are not
Mhm.
given. They are not given work. Uh, they are made to feel that you are a person who is sitting there. Uh, the treatment is different. They are not made to feel part of the organization. The
Ji.
thing is that now when we employ differently able people, firstly, when people join ITC, when we do the induction, in the induction, we tell our new people that your colleague may be a differently able person. You
Ji.
have to deal with them and you have to treat them as an equal. There is no special treatment. See, I would say one thing in ITC, many of our differently able people are people who are consistently the best employees.
Wow. That's nice.
For example, now I'll tell you what, when we employ people, we make sure they are able to do the work. And sometimes your disability is an asset. I'll give an example. I remember this person whom I recruited 20 years earlier in Bombay.
Okay.
His name is Arzan Patel.
Okay.
It may not be 20, it could be 18 years. 18
Ji.
years. Arzan
Ji.
Patel is working in ITC Grand Central in the finance department for the last 18 years. Arzan has got a hearing impairment. So when he comes to work, what he does, he gets onto his system, he removes his hearing aid, and he starts working. No time for gossip. And his
Acha ji.
output is always much higher. And here I
Mm.
will tell one thing, it is not only women who gossip, men gossip more than women. I'm sure, Dr. Chitra, you're laughing.
Ji.
Men gossip more. So Arzan Patel, after removing his hearing aid, does at least 10 to 20% more work than his other colleagues. So automatically become best employee.
Ji.
In Bombay, we had people who were pianists. The people who are the pianists were people who were visually impaired. We had a lot
Okay.
of guests who come to see these people playing the piano on an evening. We had one uh, girl and one boy. And
Okay.
they used to come on alternate days. One is to come for 3 days, one is to come for 4 days.
जी
And
जी
that restaurant or that bar where we were there, where always people used to come and enjoy their food. So
okay
actually, in today's this thing in hospitality, I always tell people, you're you are in business to make money. You're employing people. See that you employ not for out of sympathy. Employ
mm-hmm.
them. See that they are skilled. See that they do the job. Because when they do the job, what happens is they also feel happy and satisfied. And
हाँ
their
जी
other colleagues also look at them with respect. And last time I remember when I went to ITC Gardenia, people whom I had employed when we started this hotel in 2009, many of them are still working. They
okay
are good at to work at repetitive jobs, work at the laundry, uh, various doing jobs like laundry where a lot of people don't like to continue to work. They have been working for more than 12 to 13 years. And then,
okay
for example, in the concierge, the,
जी
the person who helps the guest when he comes with his luggage, the most smiling employee is a differently abled employee. So naturally, what
okay
happens? They get all the awards. They are consistently good employees and they are happy employees. And
जी जी
what
जी
we do, like for example, I'm involved with an organization called Sarthak Educational Trust.
हाँ
Sarthak Educational Trust trains people with disabilities. What
yes sir
happens is, we have told all the other hotels, please come and see our differently abled people. We have
okay
employed so many of them. They have been working with us for so many years. Would you like
जी
also to follow our example? And if you want, Sarthak is the person who will train those employees for you. That's all.
mm-hmm.
So the
you
word
you
spreads. The word spreads. That's
जी
all.
here I would like to tell my audience that sir is the Bangalore Center Advisor for Sarthak Educational Trust, and there are 20 centers all over India for Sarthak Educational Trust. So this is wonderful, sir. Wonderful information.
So this aspect about uh, what you had asked for, the question was dealing with diversity and inclusion. I think I've covered it. There's a lot of scope in hospitality to do things correctly, to be inclusive. And one
Mm-hmm.
thing is there, one more thing which I would say regarding the physical facility. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when we make hotels, we always see that uh, a differently able guest can come to the hotel and be comfortable. So when we are making it for our guests, we make sure that similar facilities are made also for our.
Mm-hmm. जी.
Yes.
So,
Go
sir,
ahead.
one thing also I would like to ask, when we are talking about when caring for the students or for the newcomers, new joinees who are coming all over the country to work, maybe from North India, Northeast India to down south. So, sir, accommodation is also one thing that everybody looks. So, accommodation will also be generally provided.
See, certain hotels do provide.
Ji,
In Chennai, it was difficult. We did provide accommodation for people.
ji, ji.
Firstly, we make sure wherever our hotels, all girls are definitely provided accommodation.
Oh,
And
that's nice.
boys, we try to give as much as possible,
Ji,
as far
ji,
as possible. Because
ji,
in Chennai, it was difficult, so we were doing it.
ji, ji,
We
ji,
were
ji.
doing it, but all hotels do not do it. That's all.
Okay, right, right, sir.
Or at least what people do is they try to give them for at least the first few months so that they can come and settle down and look
Ji,
for accommodation. The
ji,
first 1 or 2 months. That's it.
ji, 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 ji.
Now, I'd already spoken about induction and acculturation to see that
Thank
they fit into your organization. Reward
Yes,
and
sir.
recognition, which I already told you, there are many schemes. How
Mm-hmm.
when good guest comments come, no, then we give them, you give them points and the points get converted to, some prizes and and they are publicly recognized in a town hall where the unit head rewards them in front of everyone. And
Ji,
also we give a lot of emphasis for self-development and professional growth. We give opportunities for people who join at entry level. so that they can grow. And some of them are become very good and get onto the fast track and are able to join our management institute and become managers in 5-6 years time, 4-5 years time, depending on performance.
जी 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 जी.
Can I move on? Or you?
Yes, sir. So I think we have not moved forward. We have moved backward because we are with rewards and honor
Yeah,
recognitions.
yeah.
So you can move forward, sir.
Yeah.
अभी
Fairness.
सर हम
Oh,
पीछे.
sorry.
जी हाँ जी हाँ जी. हम्म.
I would like to also speak about some people who, uh, excelled. You
हाँ
know,
जी.
some people who excelled and did very well, and who were in a way like role models each other.
Yes, sir.
And
We want to listen to you about some role models also.
yeah, so this is now one. This is a chef. Uh, unfortunately, is no more.
Oh.
When I started Grand Central Mumbai, we had a problem for South Indian food. And when I
Actually.
speak about South Indian food, I'll come to one specific item. Now everyone thinks idli is the same. Uh,
Mm.
Idli is a very simple dish which anyone can make. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure. I'm sure, Dr. Chitra, you also made it at home. Everyone makes it at home all over.
जी
But
जी
what
sir.
the idli is very different in different states of India. So
Okay.
when we started Grand Central, we had a problem that we have a lot of visitors who come from the company to check whether your standards are correct. Your food standards are up to the mark. We used to
Mm-hmm.
always get criticized that our idlis are bad because
अच्छा.
a person from Bangalore, he comes, he expects the idli to be different. A person from Tamil Nadu, he says no, Tamil Nadu idlis are the right type of idlis, and
Mm-hmm.
all South Indian state thinks their idli is the right idli. So then
जी
finally we had to get this gentleman called Rajan, who had retired from ITC, and he was already past, he had retired at the age of 60. When he came to us, he worked for after almost 15 years after that, that sort of thing. And he was a very, very positive chap. He was, if you look at the next slide, he was only fifth standard. His education was only fifth standard. But
okay.
he had the opportunity uh, to serve the president, prime minister, uh, Venkatraman, Rajiv Gandhi, Narasimha Rao, all industrialists, all that, And, and and one thing I must also say, he was something like a role model to all the people who used to come to the young managers that here is a person with minimal education who could. And one thing more, what I mean to say, his guest connect was so great that
जी
any guest who comes to the restaurant, they are inspired by this person because this person will make something and take this table and make it. And his guest connect was so much. I was once in Chennai, and I remember I asked him, why have you come to Chennai? Are you on leave? So he told me that I've come for a wedding. And he had come for a famous industrialist granddaughter's wedding. So I asked him, why you have come as a guest? uh, why did you come? So he told me that chairman of Murgappa Group invited me for this thing for my granddaughter's wedding because he wants me to stand next to the food. I don't have to cook because he said if I stand next to the food, chairman sir will be very happy.
जी.
So that was a type of connect. And
Mm-hmm.
and you had people like even film stars and all that who knew him personally, and they used to come to the restaurant, not eat, come to the coffee shop to have breakfast from his hand and not have it in the room because they not have like room service. Because if you come, we can meet and interact with him. This was one Rajan with his minimal education, who was a role model and example to all people who work in the hotel and everywhere. Very
जी
popular and well known. Like, for example, he used to always tell the people that if the other employees, say, please take care of the guests because your salary is paid by the guests. If you
जी
take care of them, you will be taken care by the company. In taking care of its team members, no company can compete with ITC. That is
जी.
what he could tell people.
Mm-hmm.
Another role model whom I want to speak about is one of our managers whom, when I joined in the year from the army. I joined in 2001, 2000, early 2002 when I came to Bombay.
Okay.
He was a person who had, from F&B service had just become the F&B manager.
Mm-hmm.
A very tall, you can see his picture, a very tall and handsome Parsi gentleman who exemplified service of the right standard
Mm-hmm.
and who has now become the vice president of operations for South and East, also looking after our upcoming property in Colombo. Now,
Okay.
now this person, what I mean to say, I've seen him grow from that level, and he uh, has held number of leadership positions uh, in the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, he is from IHM Mumbai, studied there, and then after he joined our management training program, ITC Hotels, and there he has studied abroad. And he has worked, also he has done some pre-opening abroad, and he's been with the company all throughout, right from the time he joined the company. During the pandemic, uh, he did very special work, looked after uh, the requirements of the guests. A very difficult period for hospitality. And one thing, there are certain leaders who combine um, very good people skills in addition to technical skills, knowledge, being great hoteliers. He has combined uh, the skill of looking after people in the right way. The right way in the sense, as far as empathy is concerned, understanding people requirements, attending to them, and being human. See, for me as an HR person, I always value this ability of a leader to be human is very
Ji.
important. And it does not mean he's not firm. See,
Mm-hmm.
he's discerning, and I observed him that he can be uh, take right actions required when people need them. There are some people, see, 100% people, all people are not the same. Some people have to be disciplined. And there I found that he does his job perfectly. So
Right.
uh, he has been long years with the company, and finally he has moved to this position, top position, one of the top positions in the company.
Wonderful. Wonderful, sir.
But a great person. And Dr. Chitra, if you
Ji.
had told me that you're visiting Ranchola, I would have made him meet you. Because he's so humble. He's so humble and nice. He meets everyone, meets every employee. And anyone can walk up to him without any fear and speak to him. He's available to him.
Ji.
This
Ji.
was one role model once we talk about a chef who had moved from that level. Here I talked about a manager who had the right qualification, was moved up rightly, and who
Mm.
has got a lot of potential, I would say immense potential. Another person I want to speak about, see, I was speaking about opportunities for
Yes.
people to grow. See,
Ji.
when you recruit people at entry level, this person, Ashwin, now
Mm.
Ashwin, whom I'm speaking about, Ashwin, I had recruited him in Bombay. Uh, I had taken him as an entry level person in our production department.
Acha ji.
Uh, and I found he was very good during his interviews. What happened? Unfortunately for him, he could not handle one question which pertained to chefs.
Mm-hmm.
Since he did not get selected, because of that, he was not selected for the management training program. So
Ji.
I was there. So I told him, you join at entry level and you work hard. I'm sure that you'll be able to, if you are determined, you'll be able to join a management training program. He joined, and within 3 years, he was selected for the management training program. Went to ITC Hotel Management Institute, got selected there, finished his training, was posted as a chef, served for 5 years as a chef, and thereafter he left and he's running a very successful cloud kitchen in Mumbai.
Ji.
Uh,
Ji.
the stories are many. We can keep
Ji.
talking about people, what the people, how they do well and how they succeed.
Ji.
There's no doubt. All you require to have that sincerity, hard work, and that.
So here, sir, I would like to ask one thing because with your experience, your seniority, and you're working as an head HR while you are recruiting so many people, like experienced one and the freshers also. So, what are the qualities that you always, when you go for recruitment, you look while interviewing the candidates?
See, I'll tell you how, like, I believe one thing.
Ji,
First thing, when you're working in hospitality,
ji,
you require people to be happy.
happy.
I, I would not like to recruit a person, however good he is, if he cannot smile.
Ji, sir. Ji,
Imagine you, Dr. Chitra, going to a hotel, going to a restaurant, and if you see a person who cannot smile, you won't
ji.
feel like eating food also, no?
Right, right. Absolutely
You
right.
understand? See, the
Ji,
first thing what I feel at hotelier, see, God has made us as we are.
hmm,
Everyone cannot be tall and handsome like Zubin Songaru.
ji,
There will be people like me also, short and round. Okay. So therefore, at least I must have an ability to smile like Zubin. That way. So at
ji.
least if I am pleasant to the person, guests will be happy to be with me. Rajan had a very big smile.
Yeah,
Despite whatever his shortcomings, he built up very good guest contact. The first thing what I look is for cheerful people.
ji,
Understand?
ji, ji.
People who are genuinely happy to do work, happy
Okay.
to meet people. You
Hanji.
must have an attitude. If someone comes to your home, if you don't smile when giving a glass of water, that your guest will not even drink that water with you. Am I right or not?
Nee, absolutely right, sir. Smile can
So the
make
first,
a stranger your own, someone who is very close to you.
yeah, that's what. So what I mean to say, a person who needs to be in hospitality, first qualities are these personal qualities. Then, of course, there are other things like how you present yourself, your grooming, your dressing standard, the way how you talk,
Hmm,
your language, you know,
right.
all these things combined. But you may have all these things, but if you cannot smile, then you're not a fit.
Ji, 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 ji. So, sir,
Yeah.
the question here is like it is always told to youngsters that you should have the right attitude in you. Then
Huh.
the physical training or the technical
Yes,
training can be given. Is it true?
yes, absolutely right. That's why I told, see, you're supposed to know, see, you cannot that you know nothing. You
Ji,
should
ji,
know 60, 70%. There
ji,
may be gaps. That
ji,
gaps we can train them. You know what I
ji,
mean?
ji,
Like,
ji.
for example, during recruitment, you always like to know where you have done your investment training, what did you learn there?
Mhm.
And and we see whether the person can, with training, make up for the gaps what he doesn't.
Ji.
But he should have the willingness to learn.
Mhm.
And that also during our training, in our induction and all that, we make sure that, because you'll find very senior people going for training.
Mhm.
So people are continuously going on training. They keep adding skills. Like, for example, uh, it is not once you become a general manager, you don't go for training. You are given input so that you can become an area manager.
Hanji.
You have to become a vice president. You know,
Right.
so the
Right.
learning and training and ability to learn and absorb has to be there throughout. So this is all attitude, huh? Attitude, the willingness to learn. See, you will be willing to learn if you realize that there's something more. You suppose you think that I know everything, you cannot learn. You must always be open to learning.
Ji. Right, sir.
Yeah. Can we move? There was one thing which I wanted to. Huh. See, these are some things which this thing, many
Ji.
people feel that, see, 10 things that require zero talent. Being on
Ji.
time. What is your work ethic? How much effort you put in? Your energy. Very important thing is body language. As I said, when a guest walks into a hotel, into a restaurant, by looking, you can understand a person is welcome or not. Huh? Your body language speaks. Like, for example, you are serving a guest, your body language cannot show my shift is finished. Why are you sitting? Why are you not leaving? You can't say that. You have to be the same when you welcome them. Then
Ji.
what passion? Your passion to do work, to do extra, being prepared always, being
Ji.
coachable, willing to take on more training, having a
Ji.
good attitude. All these things are things which are very easy and very
Uh,
what I would.
Here I would like to ask one thing also, sir. Nowadays, when we talk about youngsters, especially the new joinees, new coming to the hospitality industry, the term work ethics, in the old
Ah,
times we have seen they have a specific kind of a zeal towards work and all that, but nowadays
ah.
youngsters, they don't have that kind of a zeal. Do you agree with this, and how you look at this?
See, that's a very general statement. See,
Okay.
I've worked with startups
Ji,
and I've
ji,
worked with very young people.
ji,
Uh, like, for example, now I'm working in a university.
ji, ji.
When you work in a university, it's a very different environment.
हाँ जी.
Like, for example, I got an intern in my office who comes and works. That
Okay.
intern is not paid anything. That intern is coming because that girl wants to become an HR manager.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that person is doing double the work of a regular employee. You
Yeah,
understand what I
that's
mean?
right. Yes,
It's
yes, I
not,
can.
see, it is a question of how you can motivate people.
Ji, ji,
Ah, see,
ji.
the thing is that these are leadership skills. I
Okay.
would not say that a young person doesn't have work ethic. See, like for example, when an intern comes to me, I said, see, you will do a lot of repetitive work. But
Ji.
whenever you do a work, don't work like a clerk who, after working for 30 years, after filling the same thing, doesn't know what that form is. You must, everything what you do, you must know what you're doing. Understand. If you
Ji.
understand everything, see, a person, the supervisor should take interest in their subordinate. And one thing, if you are recruited correctly, uh, I'm sure that work ethic will be there.
Ji, 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 ji.
It is a motivational part of the leader.
Mm.
Having
Got it.
recruited the right person, given the right inputs, uh, make the person realize and make him grow. Make the person recognize when he does well, correct him when he does wrong, he or she
Mm-hmm.
does wrong. Treat him as family.
Ji, ji,
These are all the things which you can do
ji.
to make a person feel part, uh, part of the family, part of the thing. You find there's no problem. That's all.
Yeah.
Why is
This.
it? See, there are certain leaders, like when I spoke about Zubin as a role model,
Mm-hmm.
Zubin would never have a problem to give up people to get work done. Because, it is how he is. He has treated his people well.
Ji,
Uh, he has not looked down upon them, valued them as colleagues. So all the
mm-hmm.
people who do willingly do for him. So many
Mm-hmm.
a time when you say these people don't have work ethic, the leader should look within whether he is responsible
Ji.
for the subordinate not having a work.
Right, right. So it is a two-way process.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the
Ji.
thing is that I don't believe that blaming a youngster that these people don't have. First of
Ji.
all, one thing, if this person who's supposed to come in, for example, there are some people who are brilliant,
Mm-hmm.
but they cannot teach.
हाँ जी. Yeah.
You understand what? For
Yes, sir.
teaching,
Yes.
you don't require brilliance.
जी,
So
जी.
that is why person should be in the right job. Now, if you recruit a person in hospitality who doesn't like to smile, who is a loner, who's
Mm-hmm.
who may have become a very good scientist, but he doesn't fit in here. So firstly, you then I would say the recruitment is wrong. Don't
Okay.
blame his work ethic.
Okay.
Choice of profession is wrong. That's all.
जी. सर, with your permission, यहाँ पे मुझे I had one question in my mind जो कि
हाँ,
बिल्कुल अभी अभी आया है, so I would like to ask this. So one thing is that understanding a candidate while recruiting during the interview process. The second thing is while they are working, they have become the employee of the hotel. uh, during
yeah.
that uh, during that employmentship and something, some maybe some trouble happened to them and they got into depression or some other kind of a problem at that time. How with your experience, how HR helps them to revive, or what hotel responsibilities, do you have faced any such kind of an experience while you're.
Uh, the thing is that what I mean to say, in this modern world,
जी जी
People getting into depression, into problems can
जी
happen.
जी
See, like for example, when we are in a family, if a
हम्म,
member develops some problem, what will you do?
जी
You have to help that person. You
जी
can't disown a person.
हम्म
That is the time when we need to support the person in various ways.
हम्म
Uh, Maybe like for example, I still remember we had this program in ITC. We had tied up with a company where, first of all, if a person has a problem, he normally walks up and confides to you, and we
ओके
try to help. Many a time, an employee would not like to speak to him because personal problems.
जी
We
जी
are tied up with a company, I remember the name. Now it is more than 15 years. One to one connect. It was, I think, a Gurgaon based company. They are
हम्म
trained psychologists, and we used to pay them uh, some sort of bulk fee. And what they used to do is employees used to consult them, and it was totally confidential. The
हम्म
only time they used to come and refer, these people would refer to them. Suppose they come to know someone has got suicidal tendency, then
ओके
they would, yeah, there is a person who is in danger. You
ओके
need to speak him discreetly and help the employee so there
जी
is no loss of life.
ओके
Understand? So we have our own ways of handling this, and we support a person when there's a problem.
हम्म
Okay. And now, since you have asked this question, another thing which I would like to also bring out, I still remember a case in Chennai. Uh, uh, Dr. Chitra, I said we'll take 30 minutes. I think it is 1 hour, 7 minutes. Uh,
Sir, I'm really sorry. I
no,
have
no,
taken
no,
more time
no,
of
no,
yours,
no problem. No problem. I have also
but
enjoyed.
it's such a family talk. Now, I'm
Yeah,
not. To be very honest with you, sir,
no,
मुझे लग ही नहीं रहा that I'm doing a webinar. It is
no,
like
no,
I'm
no,
talking to my senior.
no, I would like to speak more on this.
जी
I
जी
remember once we had recruited a person in new employee. They
right.
joined. In fact, he had not been brought on the roads because nowadays when you join hotels, there's a requirement of a verification by an independent agency, to clear that there are no problems in that person. Why
Mm-hmm.
we do verification is because of all the terrorism attacks that have taken place on hotels. We are very careful regarding people who recruit. Now we needed that person joined, he was a contractual employee. Within 15 days, uh, he met with an accident, and
Oh,
I was sleeping. I think it was early morning. I got a call from the hospital that one of your persons has been brought in
जी.
and he needs to undergo amputation.
Oh,
You understand? It was a very major shock. I said, firstly, amputation, first of all, you do everything to prevent an amputation. Give
जी.
him all the care. We will honor the medical bills and all those things. And when I went in the office, by the time his people had come, his relatives had come and reached the hospital because consent was required because his amputation was required to save his life.
हाँ जी.
When I went, and then through our medical insurance, uh, this person, what I need to say, I think they could spend some 3 lakhs or something if policy covered. Ultimately, his medical bills, I remember, came to 10 lakhs. This person who worked for 15 days,
Mm.
he paid 10 lakhs for his medical treatment. This employee.
Oh.
And then he required long hospitalization.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came back. And by that time, I was going on retirement. So when I was handing over, I told the person who was handing over that this person should be kept in his work. He
जी
should not be told that he's not. He was an F&B service person. And I
जी.
told what I advised that put them on a job. Like that is what I said. Put a person on a job where he can utilize his skills. Now he was a supervisor
हाँ
in
जी.
service. I said
Yes.
put him on an area where we have difficulty in getting people. See, when people in their rooms ring up and ask for room service, they
Okay.
order food.
हाँ
Now
जी.
we prefer a person there to sit, not a person who has good idea of that can they advise the guest. You
जी.
understand? So after
Yes,
that,
sir.
he moved into that area as a room service order taker, and I think he's still working there.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I remember 2 3 years after retirement, I got a call from a lady who was his mother,
जी
and
sir.
she told that I have not spoken to you. Thank you very much for helping my son through the difficult period. I want to invite you for his marriage. He's getting married.
Oh wow. जी.
You understand what I mean?
हाँ जी, हाँ जी, हाँ जी sir. हाँ जी.
So this was one example which I wanted to give you, since you told how do you help a person when he's got a problem.
Yeah.
This is a very unique example. No
हाँ
company
जी.
will spend 10 lakhs for an employee who has joined and spend 15 days, but that is the greatness of my company, ITC, where I work for.
नहीं, really, really sir, really.
Uh,
Uh, so
yeah,
sir, do we have more slides to see or
let's see. I can continue.
no, 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 no. If it is,
No, I will
we can.
only, I'll only say you had asked. Like for example, I always tell, uh, like people who join hospitality. You already asked me what are the qualities I look for. They should be
हाँ जी,
cheerful.
हाँ जी,
They should have passion. They should have desire to, like for example, uh, when you eat your food, your mother is watching you eat. Now the mother has cooked the food. The mother feels the greatest satisfaction when she sees her children enjoying the food or her husband enjoying the food. It's a natural, it's a natural thing when you cook food. So
हाँ
I
जी,
said when people are joining hotels and hospitality, they must have that feeling like they should enjoy doing their job.
जी sir,
Uh, they should, what I mean to say, be genuinely welcoming. It should come from the heart. It should not be artificial. I always would tell when people do their training in hotel, I said, whatever training should not be training to fill paper that
हम्म,
I trained so many hours, to fill records.
जी,
That is not what training. You should see the result on the ground.
जी,
The
जी,
people should have learned their job. So that
हम्म,
sort of things, people who join hospitality should be genuinely enjoy looking after people, be happy doing their job, and if they
जी,
are genuine, success will come automatically. They will become the Rajans of the future.
right,
They'll
right,
become the Zubins of future and become successful professionals.
जी, 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 जी sir.
Uh,
So sir, if you can just stop share your screen and we can see you on the screen, that will be good.
this one success seeker or failure avoider.
जी,
Uh, this is something which I want to tell young students. See, when you get up in the morning,
जी,
how do you see the day? Like, for example, I like to ask my students when I go to a college, when I do my sessions, I said, today morning, you're coming for my session. What did you think?
हम्म,
Did you come to my session because you said attendance is compulsory?
हम्म,
Or you came because you wanted to learn something?
जी,
Every morning, uh, every morning when you get up, what do you tell yourself? That is very important. Are you looking forward to the day? Now, if you are an employee, are you looking forward to go to work? Like tomorrow, I'm going to the university. Uh, how do I see my day? Am I looking forward to the day? Or I will tell my, अरे और एक दिन जाकर काम.
जी, 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 जी,
You
जी,
understand that sort of thing.
जी sir.
So I look at it as a student when he looks, are you looking to go and so that you learn something? Are you a success seeker? Or are you doing because it is compulsory? You're doing it. If I don't do this class, I will not get marks. I'll become a failure. This is
जी
what I
sir.
wanted to give a discrete lesson. So now
जी, जी,
I'll I'll stop sharing my screen so that
जी, जी, जी sir.
yes,
So, sir, your last slide actually answered the question that I would like to ask. One question has come that what advice you would like to give to the youngsters, those who want to make their career in hospitality industry? You'd like to add something into that?
say what I was trying to tell is how do you look forward to your day?
जी, जी, जी,
Are
जी,
you looking every day with a positive way that
जी
today
sir,
I'm going to learn something? It is
जी
not
sir,
for
जी,
attendance. What I
जी,
learn will become useful for me. An
जी sir,
employee is going to work should think he must look forward to go to work. Not that you think that the world has come to an end. बहुत काम है. See, of course, work will tire you, but work is also rewarding. It gives you
जी
satisfaction.
जी जी जी.
Now I have worked for more than 4 decades. I
हाँ
look
जी.
forward to my work every day
हाँ
because I
जी.
feel when I go as an HR person, a lot of people would come to me with some problems. If 10 people come to me, even if I can solve the problem of 5, I have achieved my thing. Even
जी
if I have not been able to solve the problem of the other 5, at least I have given them a hearing. When I
जी
gave them a hearing, they feel good that someone has heard them. So I
जी
feel very satisfied with my job.
जी सर. जी जी जी. So, thank you so much, sir. And I'm really sorry that I've taken so much of
No,
your
no.
time. But the experience, your experience speaks, sir. This particular webinar that you have conducted today, this is a message. This is a very good training for all the youngsters, those who want to make their career in hospitality industry. And with your experience, today we have learned so much, sir.